Let us never negotiate out of fear. Still, we should never fear to negotiate. Not my words, but those ascribed to former U.S. President John F. Kennedy, expressed at a very critical time in world history, which can, of course, be applied to describe the Katsina government's negotiations to patch what is called peace deal with bandits. Some would call it alternative dispute resolution mechanism in the absence of, ideal negotiations or the failure of kinetic options. Others will call it unjust and immoral because of the heinous crimes that bandits have been known to commit. Hello and welcome to Political Paradigm. I am Bukola Koka, standing in for your regular anchor, Terry Ikumi. And so last week, we couldn't bring you that conversation on the Katsina government's plans to release 70 bandits amid negotiations with bandits, to sustain peace deals that have been struck with bandits in the past. So we will continue this very critical conversation as a first leg of our program today. We'll take a moment now. When we begin, we'll put things in proper perspective. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So last week at the very critical time, the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, stood us up after committing to being on the program to explain the state government's position on this planned release of 70 bandits to sustain peace deals in Katsina State. And so we'll bring in our guest today to help us understand the perspectives beyond the big texts of this story that has hugged the headlines closely in the last 2 weeks. Now, the State Commissioner for Internal Security has described this, negotiations as very critical prisoner exchange that can be likened to wartime peace deals. But last year, prior to this negotiation, to this story, the Commissioner had stated or reiterated the state government's position of never negotiating with bandits, not having anything to do with negotiations with bandits. And after that, the state governor himself has also spoken about what exactly it is that the government is doing, that it is not negotiating with bandits, but if bandits approach the government with a bid to dropping their arms for amnesty, then they can enter into some form of conversation with the government. Let's go down memory lane and then we'll return in a moment.
I have been saying in various fora that I will never reach out to bandits for peace deal at the point of weakness as enshrined in the Islamic rights. That's why we intensified our efforts in the fight against banditry. To God be the glory. If you can check out my previous speeches, I proclaim that if any bandit reaches out to us seeking for peace, we will accept the offer. And this is what is currently happening in Katsina State. We have never requested for peace dialogue with any bandits. Rather, the bandits have been seeking for the peace deal because bandits, mostly led by Babaru Kingpin, have been so anxious for peace, and soldiers, on the other hand, disagreed, saying that they must kill him. The army have been searching for Babaru for almost 8 days now, and I personally called the brigade commander to please sheath his sword so that we can sit with the repentant bandits. However, they refused to listen to my plea, stating that they have directives and that the president will not take any excuses from them. So this is the situation on ground. But from the look of things, we will have a peace deal with bandits across the states, though it's still remaining Kankara, Faskari, Sabua, and some parts of the Katsina local government area.
Sampling the Jibia.
I will start the sampling with Jibia local government area. God so kind, we have secured partnership from the UNDP. We are in the process to launch the 152 IDP homes in Jiba, LG, for displaced families. Already, repentant bandit Kingpin Lanka has approached us for peace deal. He is demanding that we should rehabilitate their schools, grazing reserve hospital and road, and to support the youth who have laid down their arms with business support packages. I'm looking into their demands, and I have set up a committee to cover all the LGs where we are discussing peace deal. this to give them confidence that we keep our words.
The position of government is very clear from ab initio that the government of Katsina State under the leadership of Malam Dukarata will not negotiate with bandits. But if bandits feel the need to drop their arms and come forward, government is ready to give them the opportunity to live like every other normal citizen of Katsina State. And we are very lucky that bandits in Jibe local government and Bazari local governments came forward through their messengers, and they came forward and they initiated discussion with the leadership of their communities. And alhamdulillah, the discussions were robust, and we are having very peaceful activities in both Jibe and Bazar local government. Recently, last week, the same bandits in the Musa local government also sent a messenger to the community, to their own community in the Musa, and the messenger went, and locally there was a discussion, and it yielded into another form of a peace deal with the local government authority, as well as the leaders of all the communities in the Musa local government. So let me make it very crystal that Katsina State government is still in its position that we are not negotiating with bandits, but as a responsible leaders, if these people decide to lay down their arms, we'll give them the opportunity to be a responsible citizen in the state. And I want to also make it very clear that local governments like Kankara, Paskari, Sabwa, Bendume, and Safana will continue to have our own operation. We will continue to have the same intermittent operations, sometimes some intermittent attacks on the bandit. If that's what they want, we'll continue to do it. But for those local governments that have sat down with the bandit and arrived at a reasonable position, we'll give them the opportunity to continue with their normal activities. But let me also make it very clear that in case of them reneging their promises, we are going to deal with them as we used to. That is the position of government.
You heard it. The official position of the Katsina State government expressed at different times by the governor, Dikko Rada, sometime in November last year, 2025, at a high-stakes consultative meeting with leaders in the state. And of course, prior to that time, the Commissioner for Internal Security, that expressed in June 2025. So is this a matter of semantics? If the bandits come to us, we will engage them and give them an opportunity to be responsible citizens in the state, but we do not negotiate with them. And a few months down the line, a leaked letter written to the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Team indicates the plans of the Katsina State government to release 70 bandits as part of plans to sustain a peace deal. Let's have this conversation now. And joining us on the program this afternoon is Comrade Jamilu Cherenchi, the National Coordinator, Coalition of Northern Groups, CNG. He joins us virtually from Katsina. And we'll also have Dr. Bashiru Ruwangodia, is a member, Coalition of Civil Society Groups in Katsina. And he's also a former special advisor to the former governor of Katsina State, Aminu Masari, on higher education. He joins us virtually on the program this afternoon. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much for having us.
Dr. Godia, I'm going to begin with you. And now, the letter to the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee in the state clearly indicates that the peace deal is to sustain existing peace talks with the bandits. This, of course, clearly indicates that there has been a relationship between the state government and the bandits. And the, two sound bites that we played earlier confirms that there had been talks with bandits in Jibia local government between the community members and, of course, and the bandits, and by extension, by the government. As someone who resides in Katsina and who knows the inner workings, what can you say has been the gains of this relationship that has led us here between the state government and the bandits?
Okay, let me first of all begin by providing some background information to allow our female viewers get to understand very well my position on this very, very important, serious matter. One is that as a member of the coalition of society organizations in Katsina State, I have been working closely with members of the society, the Bandit communities, talking about the 8 frontline local governments and the vulnerable local governments. Specifically, in fact, I am from Rwangodia. Rwangodia is, in fact, a local government, one of the security bedeviled local governments. In fact, my committee is one of the most affected, in fact, local government. And then, as you said in your introduction, I served as a special advisor to the governor and then the chairman of the coalition in the state of two societies. I was a member of the Dialogue and Amnesty Committee by the previous government. We have worked since 2016 on this issue. So I have at least some understanding, some knowledge, and practical experience of what has been transpiring between the bandits and the communities. So secondly, the issue of truth, the issue of kind of making understanding or kind of truth with the bandits is not something new. Far back 2016 by the previous administration, something like that has happened under the committee of the SGS then. And then we have seen the results, and we have also seen the implications. Thirdly, the most important thing is the fact that we have been facing a very, very serious challenge in Katsina State in terms of the impact, negative effects of the bandits. Lives have been lost, communities have been ravaged, destruction of properties to the tune of millions or billions. In fact, the implication is so enormous that members of the community cannot withstand and sustain continuous attacks, continuous killings, continuous damage to their properties. That may be one of the reasons that the communities, in fact, themselves initiated the issue of signing truce with the bandits to be able to have some time, to have some relief. Fourthly, when this idea came over, it started, as I've said, from the communities. But then our concern, or my concern as a community member, is the fact that once you are fighting this kind of fight, you have to engage the bandits, make the required attacks, let them understand how heavy, how mighty the government is, so that they can themselves offer opportunities for signing the agreement. But then here we are, before the agreement of Jibia and Safana that the government is talking about. The government has had its own position by the governor that he's not going to sign any truce with the bandits. But then, as a responsible person, as a leader, certainly has to consider the implication on the communities. So it was allowed that the state government will not be involved, but directly or indirectly it is involved because local communities, through their local government chairman, are involved in this truce. So my concern is a kind of, I don't want to call it double standard. Where the state government is not saying is not part of it, leaders at the local government level, chairmen of local governments are involved in the truce. Which one is which? On this matter also, we have to also consider the fact that maybe the release by the 70 bandits by the government is a kind of to assist the communities at the grassroots, to ensure that the understanding, the truth that has been reached is actually sustained, to be able to minimize the catastrophes of killings, of damages to properties. But then my question still that I want to be answered by the government is the fact that the government is saying it's not going to engage the bandits. But then local government levels are engaging the government with their chairman. Are we saying that the chairmen of the local governments are not part of the government? So if at all we are going to have this let it be something that is going to be holistic. The government being involved, local council being involved, community agents being involved, to ensure that we have something that will serve us long-lasting. But here we are. The bandits are being released, but then the government is now also saying that they are not part of the agreement. Where
Dr.
are we?
Godia,
That is my concern.
You certainly haven't given us, any sense of the gains that have accrued as a result of this planned prisoner exchange, or maybe the prisoners have already been, released. We do not know. But you've certainly given us a sense of how the people are under pressure, and by themselves, they have entered into this negotiation through their local governments, and you've talked about the appropriateness or lack of it all. Let's take it to Comrade Jamilu Cherenchi now for his own thoughts on this. Go ahead. I'm sure you have some reactions to what Dr. Godia has said.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, Nigerians. My major concern, as my senior brother said earlier, that either the government doesn't have a true blueprint on how to curtail the menace of insecurity in the state, or the state government is confused about it. Because as I'm just watching what the Commissioner of Internal Security was saying, is that if they lay down their arms, then we will consider them. Then the question is, where and when does this bandit lay down their arms? He said that if they failed us, we will attack, as we are doing. I believe that they have failed in so many local government areas. Where is the state government now is attacking? So the question is that either this security issue is politically motivated, or the Katsina state government has lost control over the security matter, or the Katsina state government doesn't have a genuine blueprint on how to attack the menace of insecurity in the state. Quite sure the community can do anything. In as much as the community can paint axes just to ensure that they are living in peace, I believe that they can do anything to ensure that they are living in peace. But whatever, by the way, by and large, the issue is that this so-called peace deal that is taking place in Katsina, I don't think there is anywhere in this world that there are such kind of, I can even call it just like a playground that they are doing it. The bandits came to the places at their will, not at the will of the community or at the will of the Katsina state government. They left the place at their will, not at the will of the Katsina state government or at the will of the community. They were wearing or they were shouldering different arms. So the one will ask himself, is it truly that we have the leadership in the state? Is it truly that the government has a concern over what is happening in the state? Is it the government truly considers the level of insecurity and the damages being ravaging our communities in that area? These are the kind of questions we should ask ourselves. But I don't think there is any sensible government, the government that have human feeling, that have feeling of their community, that have concern for their people, and the government that is ever ready to provide a lasting solution to security in their areas, that will choose this route or this road, that think that they can appease this bandit by appeasing the bandit so that at least they will sustain security in the state. As Doctor said earlier, this thing is not the first time that this thing is happening in Katsina State. During the Martinez administration, they have tried this, but it failed woefully. And I believe that whether we like it or not, the government, particularly the Katsina State governor, Maladuk Umar, whether he liked it or not, is part and parcel of Amin Musa's government. He was there and he saw all that happened. I think that's why at the initial stage, he was saying that I will not dialogue or I will not have any peace deal with the bandit. But later, we don't know what have come over him. What happens, we don't know. Actually, Malam Dukorda decided to play like a play tactic. That he's saying that I am not dialoguing with bandit while your chairman are already dialoguing with bandit. Then who's dialoguing with the bandit? And now the Katsina state government is releasing these people. Is this the community people that are releasing 70 people? Or is this the chairman of the local government that has constitutional power to release 70 people from prison custody? These are the kind of questions we are asking. Then if the Katsina state government feels like the Katsina state government want to participate in the peace deal, let us whole country or let us know that the Katsina state government is part and parcel of this game. And if the Katsina state government is part and parcel of this game, what are the modalities that the Katsina state government is going to use that will differ from the previous modalities being used by Amin Musa's administration? What are the assurances that the Katsina state government will give the people of Katsina state that this peace deal will yield a positive result as being expected by people? But whatever it is, I believe, and I'm 100% believing it, that you cannot negotiate at your weak point. Whether we like it or not, whether we accept it or not, now the government is at weak point. Because the bandit dictates what is happening in this whole areas. I believe that my senior brother, Dr. Rongo there, will say more about this because his local government or his town, particularly the Rongo there, is in fact is a bandit den. So he knows much what is happening in that area. So I believe that in as much as this peace deal will yield any positive result, it will have been yielded in Zamfara as Mutawalli Maradun did it, and it will have yielded a positive result as Amin Mutari did it. But what we are seeing in Zamfara is a different story. Now Mutawalli is being linked with the connection with this bandit. We cannot sustain peace at the appeasement or just based upon the interest of the bandit. These bandits are seeing themselves as heroes. They are seeing themselves as people that are untouchable in our society. They are moving in the town with the ego, with anything. To an extent that if care is not taken, our younger ones will begin to feel that now if you are a bandit, you become untouchable. The state government cannot touch you, and the leaders of the state government will be dying and whining with you. That is the danger. And if you are releasing these bandits now today, we have been advocating for community intelligence, sharing intelligence with the security agencies. Then what is the case of these people that provide the information to the state government that orders to the security agents that lead to the arrest of these people we are talking about? What is the case of the security agents that have lost their life, that have paid the supreme price in order to ensure that our people are living in peace? Today they are no more, and their families are living witness that these people have been released.
Comrade Jamilu, pardon me if I may come in there. In some of the explanations provided by Governor Rada, he pointed out that there's been some success recorded in about 4 local government areas, and that there's an assurance that if it is pursued, that this was last year, what he said from last year, and that there's an assurance that if this is pursued, that there may be another peace deal that will ensure some form of stability for the benefit of the people of Katsina. So does this suggest that the Katsina state government is perhaps coming up with a template of a peace deal that will, in the long run, work out for the people of Katsina state?
You see, my problem is that one of the conditions being laid down by the Commissioner of Internal Security is that if the bandits lay down their arms, my question is when and where do these bandits lay down their arms? And for you to say that these bandits are not intensifying their attacks in our rural communities, I believe that Dr. Rongo knows that nobody can say it. They are still attacking people in the communities, and people are still crying. People cannot go to their home, their farmlands. People cannot even rear their cattle or other small animals. People are living in a very serious conditions. And I believe that the commissioner knows much about this. And what I'm saying is that what the templates you can also government have or has on the issue of people who lost their loved ones during this attack. What is their fate? What is the government is providing for them? What is the pace of the security agents, their families who lost their lives in this attack? What is the pace of the people that are providing intelligence to the security agent that lead to the arrest or dismantling of the gang groups of these bandits? Those are the questions. And I believe that even the governor himself cannot attest that after the peace deal in Katsina State, no attack has happened in the local government that we are talking. One of the local governments that signed this peace accord or peace deal is Malapasha local government. And I believe that there are attacks there. What happens to between Shemi and Maraba Kakara 2 to 3 days ago? What happens to the people that were doing their Maulidi around from 2 local government area? What happened there? So these people attack people. So they need to have negotiating with them while they are still intensifying attack to your people. I don't think that it is paying. I don't think it is
clearly, Comrade Jamilu, that's an answer that the Katsina state government cannot answer, categorically or with evidence to the contrary. There have been attacks even after the peace deal. But let's bring it back to Dr. Ruwan Godia now. I'm wondering about the implications of the intervention in what is an already established judicial process. In the leaked letter to the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Unit in Katsina State, the government is requesting the release of 70 bandits, in some case 48 who have been charged with, who are accused rather, of different criminal offenses, and 22 are already at different levels of trials in the high courts in the state. Isn't this a form of breach of the judicial process?
You see, I am not a lawyer, but the concern is, I believe there may be some elements of understanding or interpretation of the law or sections of the law that have actually guided the state government in doing that. But my concern is, as a citizen of the state, as a victim, directly and indirectly, of this issue of insecurity, I believe that there is some level of benefit in it, but there are more challenges than the benefits. Why am I saying this? My community, Rwangode, that I have been bearing, is one of the communities that have signed the understanding of the truths of the bandits very, very long ago, before even the local government started, before even the state government complained of that, because of the kind of trouble we find ourselves. We cannot move, we cannot do anything. Our people have been killed, have been maimed, properties, and so on and so forth. So they had to concede because they cannot face the firepower of the bandits. And then there is less a kind of support, especially by the powers that be, to ensure that that thing is actually brought to an end. So with that, that opened another door of problem. Because like Jamilu said, there is the issue of the bandits assuming some level of authority, in fact, stronger authority than it was before. Now, bandits can now come into our communities, though without arms, but they can do and undo. They can do and undo. That means a lot. And then even after the signing of this local government, officially with the local governments at GB and so on and so forth, there are cases, there are issues that have been taking place. But I have to state here clearly that, yes, there is some level of restraint. The kind of attacks we are facing, the frequency has drastically reduced. The magnitude has also reduced, but then they are still using the opportunity to now access some other communities. Before the signing of this truce, Kano was in peace. But after the signing, we have seen advances being made. Because when they come, they have understanding with you, you cannot do anything to them, they will not do anything to you. So they will use your community to serve as a route to reach other countries where there is no truce. So that is another implication. And then the worst of it is the concern that the number of battalions, the 7 that have been released, are they actually specifically from the local government that have signed the truce or from all over? And then the level of the judicial activity that they're facing, how is it? That is what lawyers will answer. But for us, is the impact that we have seen with the little kind of, what do you call it, the agreement that has been signed. Yes, we have seen relative peace. I have to state this. For over 3-4 months now, our communities are not being attacked. The frequency has drastically reduced. And in fact, if any one of them makes the mistake of attacking anybody, even on the roads, like from Sheme to Rwangode to Kankara, if anybody is abducted, you can just make a call. And the leaders of the bandits will actually release that particular person. We have seen also them releasing 30, 60 over that have been in their custody or in their captivity, and they have released them. So for me, it is another line by the government. But the concern is, if the government is releasing, but the government is not saying it is not involved in the issue of security truce, then the concern is, why now officially releasing bandits facing what? Judicial process. So the concern is, for me, if the government is actually interested in the security deal, let the state government be fully involved. But I want to make it clear to you that before any local government signs any agreement with the bandits leaders, the commissioner is aware of it. We have to be clear to front to ourselves. So the government is aware, but it's saying that it's not part of it. So who now is actually doing what? That is the point. So if we want to do it, let's do it holistically, where the state government will be involved, the state agencies will be involved, because yes, the government has been trying in terms to address this issue, but it is beyond its own powers. The governor does not have any control of the military, of the police, and so on and so forth. They have to receive their orders from the top. So he cannot do anything otherwise. But the concern is, since he has no, his hands are tied in terms of using security forces to address the issue, let him go for this security deal and let it be holistic, formal, official, and professional.
Dr. Godia,
lawyers will be involved.
So many things have emerged from what you have said, and I'm quite spoiled for choice. But let me start from the release of 30 to 60 in their captivity. By that I mean you mean the I believe you mean the bandits. They've released about 30 to 60 people in their captivity, and this cannot be done without the knowledge of the Commissioner of Internal Security, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so that's a clear confirmation that regardless...
Before any chairman signs any deal. Sorry?
So that is a clear confirmation that regardless of what the state government says, it is indeed involved in these negotiations with the bandits. So that's a clear confirmation. Even though that leaves you in some form of doubt because of what the state government says. But let's talk about what is more important at this point. If if the people are under pressure because of attacks, because of the killing and the maiming, and then as a result, they decide that the best way out of this is some form of negotiation with the bandits so that they can have some respite. Why is the state government helpless? Why is the state government unable to come to their rescue?
You see, the state government is helpless because of the constitutional mandate. Yes, the governor is the chief security officer of the state. But you know, I know, he knows, the president knows that the governor cannot direct the commander, I mean, the brigade commander or any other military personnel. He cannot command the commissioner of police. He can only advise him. Maybe because of the resources they collect from them, that's why they answer the calls. But I can tell you that the governor has no powers to direct any military attack against the bandits. So if the governor, being the chief security officer, cannot direct any of the military personnel, how do you think he can support the situation? Secondly, he doesn't have control over arms. The governor cannot release AK-47 now for any person. Highest is pump action, any other local gun. So if they have AK-47, AK-49, sophisticated weapons to attack, and the governor has no control over his over the security agencies in Nigeria, and he has no control of firepower that can actually match that of the bandits, the only alternative is to go for deal like this, to have security, to have security deal with the bandits. But the concern is we are operating, or we are assigning the troops at an inferior kind of power. Somebody who has more security, more power over you is now telling you that he's going to sign with you. He's only saying, let me
Dr. Godia,
for a moment.
That begs the question.
Yes.
That begs the question, because if you're negotiating with an enemy, even though they have superior firepower, the fact that indeed there is a form of negotiation with the people at the local level suggests that the people have an idea, a fair idea of where these people are, where the bandits are. They have a fair idea of where the bandits are. There is time to negotiate. That suggests that there is also time for strategy, for planning. So the excuse that the governor has no control certainly doesn't stand here. And the governor, in fact, acknowledges that in the case of Babaro, that the military had wanted to go in, to arrest Babaro and his kingpin, but he prevailed because of a peace deal. So doesn't this show a lack of commitment on the part of the state government to deal decisively with the situation of banditry in the area?
You see, the issue of Babaro in Katsina, in terms of banditry, is clear. The government knows, the security agencies know where the Babaro is. They have been even talking with Babaro. We have to be frank to ourselves. They know where all these hideouts of these bandits are. They know the kingpins. They talk to them. They have been in dialogue. But the concern is, if at all we are going to sign any truce, it should be something professional, not leaving it at the hands of local community members. We should engage people that are professionals, and let's have something professionally signed. And then it should be after the government has shown its own power on the bandits. But here you are, bandits will come and take time in a community, attack, ravage, a kind of inflict harm on people, kill them, take their properties, abduct people and go with them, rape women, and so on and so forth. And then the government is still now saying, let's sign a truce. But where attacks are sustained, I have been making the program of information with all the security agencies in Katsina, with all the heads of securities in Nigeria. I told them that if at all we are going to fight, let the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria, the president, do his own work. Convene a meeting with security chiefs, give them a marching order, give them deadline with which to crush these bandits. It has never taken place up till now. What we do is a kind of segmented operations, where we do with Zamfara. While Katsina is in trouble, we'll go to Katsina, while Zamfara will now go back to trouble, and so on. That's how it's going. Let's have a systematic, continued, sustained operation attacks on these bandits for 3 months.
All right.
If now they call for truce, that is when the truce will be signed. But here we are fighting with somebody who is stronger than you, and you're saying you are signing an agreement.
All right. I wonder if Comrade Jamilu agrees with you that you're up against an enemy that has superior firepower, and whether or not the state government's excuse that it is not in control of the security architecture of the state, hence it cannot rein in on the excesses of the bandits. What are your thoughts on this seeming stage, or if you like, scenario of helplessness painted by the Katsina state government?
I doubt much if the Katsina state government is helpless at completely 100%. But what I want to just share with people here is that this bandit we are seeing, they are always becoming more clever and clever in our societies. Because the Rongo there, the doctor is talking about that they designed a peace deal with it. They just used they used Rongo there as a shield. But ask the people from Tafoki, a nearby village, they will tell you how these bandits are intensifying attacks.
Yes.
And later on run to Rongo there where they sign truth with the people living in that area. The peace deal initially started from Jubei local government. When they started from Jubei local government, they intensified attacks at Badari local government area. Then Badari has to follow Jubei. Gradually, we are moving almost the entire local government in the southern part of the state, the entire local government, almost 90% of the entire local government in the north central of the state, they have to sign that peace deal with the bandits. That's why the bandits now are extending even their territory to Kano state as a result of this so-called peace deal. So they are clever enough. Now they realize that we are approaching dry season. In the dry season, you don't have much plantations around the area. The security agents can easily view the movement of the bandits. So now the bandits decided to sign this peace deal so that at least they will live in peace throughout the dry season. But when it's come to the rainy season, when the plantation started to grow larger or bigger like this, then the bandit will now break out the peace deal, then they will intensify attack to the communities. That's what they are doing. And the Katsina state government should learn from the initial peace deal signed by Amin Bello Masari and Motole Maratu. They did the same process, they did the same procedure. At the end of the day, they broke the promise, they came back and attacked people anyhow. They protect people from going to their farms. Even after you have planted your seeds in your farm, they rather decided that you have to pay people so amount of money before you come back to that farm. To some extent, sometimes they just decided to burn down the farms there. This is what they are doing. And concerning that the Katsina government is ultimately the state government is helpless that completely. It is only that the governors always want to attribute who is going to blame and who is going to blame. This is partial blaming games will not solve the problem. Why I'm saying this is that the Northern State Governors Forum, not even the Northwest State Governors Forum, should sit down and come out with modalities. Okay, now Zamfara will be attacking, Katsina will be attacking, Sokoto will be attacking, and Kebbi will be attacking simultaneously. Not Katsina is doing something different, while Sokoto is also doing something different. If they coordinated themselves like this, let them travel all the way from their regions or from their states. Let them meet the commander and CNC and tell him that this is what we want. This is politics. They have the game, they have the numbers, they have the vote in their hands. Let them tell the president, Your Excellency, this is what we want. We want a simultaneous attack between Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, and so other places. I believe that the president cannot say that we will not do it. But the problem is that between the state government and the federal government, they are operating differently. The state government is doing something different from what the federal government is doing. That's why our organization, I think last year, we called on the security summit, so that at least the governors will be there, the service chiefs also were there, the national security advisor was represented there. Let us come out with modalities to curtail the menace of insecurity in northern Nigeria. But in as much as Dukorada will do it alone, Dauda alone from Zamfara will do it alone, this guy from Sokoto will do it alone, definitely we are not moving anywhere. And the bandits understand our psyche. They understand the motives, how the state governors are operating. That's why they are bringing this through peace deal anywhere. But the truth is that the governors are not serious. They are politicizing the matter. The politics in the issue of insecurity in northern Nigeria is growing by day. They rather protect their politics. They rather protect the words that will suit the people rather than doing the needful. But they can't do the needful, and they believe that they have the capacity, they have the capability, they have all what it takes to do the needful. Even if they are saying that they are not in direct control of the security agents, let them report the security agent to the above. We have seen a situation whereby a governor will talk to the center and change the commissioner of police a day before election. Why won't he change the commissioner of police during this attack? We have seen a situation whereby the director of DSS is being transferred during the electionary process. And they're not doing it this time around. We have seen multiples of numbers of security agents being mobilized from different parts.
As we wind down now, Dr. Godia, did you, by the way, confirm or suggest that the Katsina state government has indeed gone ahead with the release of these 70 bandits? Have they?
Sorry?
Has the Katsina state government indeed gone ahead to release the 70 bandits in this
Sorry?
prisoner exchange deal?
Yeah, what's the question?
Has the Katsina state government gone ahead to release the 70 bandits in this prisoner exchange deal that the commissioner has spoken about?
No, actually, I cannot confirm whether they have actually practically released them. But I'm aware that the news have gone around. The commission has confirmed that, the government has also confirmed that they are going to release the 70, but practically whether they have done that or not, I cannot actually confirm.
But 1,000 victims have been released from the den of the bandits in this prisoner exchange deal.
Actually, they have released many from my community. I'm sure over 200 have been released from the bandits. That is actually what I can confirm, and I can also confirm from many other local governments that actually happened.
All right. That gives us a sense of what's actually playing out. Perhaps if one part of the deal has been struck, inevitably the other part may need to be executed as well. But let's also point out that the Minister of Defense has warned state governments, particularly those in the north, from negotiating with bandits, saying that it impacts negatively on the operations of the military. And in the last 4 years, a recent report has come out to suggest that despite the peace deals that Katsina state governments in the past have struck with bandits, about 1,500 people have died still. But we must anchor at this point, and thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program. I've been talking with Comrade Jamilu Cherenchi, the National Coordinator, Coalition of Northern Groups, CNG, and of course, Dr. Bashir Ruwangodia, member, Coalition of Civil Society Groups, and former aides to former governor of Katsina State, former Governor Aminu Bello Maseri. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a moment now. When we return, it will be time for another conversation, and that would be $9 million lobbying contract for a firm in the U.S. to, of course, promote Nigeria's efforts to protect Christian groups in the country. How appropriate is this, and has it, achieved the desired objectives? That debate continues on this platform. Stay with us. We'll be right back.